At 2:14 in the morning, the woman from room 214 called the front desk. She was crying, barely able to speak. "Please help me." Then the line went dead. Ethan stared at the motel phone for several seconds. Outside, rain hammered against the neon motel sign. The parking lot was empty, silent. He checked the security monitor. Nothing moved in the hallway outside room 214. No shadows. No movement. Nothing. Ethan grabbed the master key anyway. As he walked through the corridor, the lights above him flickered softly, one by one. The closer he got to the room, the colder the hallway felt. Room 214 stood at the very end of the corridor. Door closed. Lights off. Completely silent. Ethan knocked once. No answer. He knocked again. Still nothing. Slowly, he unlocked the door. The room was empty. No suitcase. No clothes. No sign anyone had been there. Only one thing remained. The bathroom faucet was still running. And according to the motel registry, room 214 had been vacant for the past 3 days. 3 nights earlier, the Blackwood Motel sat alone beside an empty highway in western Oregon. Most people barely noticed it. A forgotten roadside stop swallowed by rain and darkness. Ethan Cole had worked the night shift there for almost 6 months. Long enough to understand one thing. Nothing good ever happened after midnight, especially during storms. At 11:47 p.m., a black sedan pulled slowly into the parking lot. Its headlights cut through the rain before shutting off completely. The driver remained inside for almost a full minute, watching the motel. Ethan noticed immediately. People who hesitated before entering usually carried secrets. Finally, the driver's side door opened. A woman stepped out. Mid-20s, pale skin, dark coat, wet hair clinging to her face. She looked exhausted, terrified. She entered the lobby without saying a word. Water dripped from her sleeves onto the carpet. Ethan gave his usual tired smile. "Need a room?" The woman glanced nervously toward the parking lot, then nodded. "Room 214, if it's available." Ethan frowned slightly. Nobody ever requested specific rooms, especially not room 214. That room had plumbing issues for months. The motel owner normally kept it closed. Still, when Ethan checked the system, room 214 suddenly appeared available, which made no sense. "How long are you staying?" he asked. The woman stared blankly for several seconds. "Just tonight." She paid cash. No luggage. No ID beyond a temporary driver's permit. Name listed. Claire Holloway. Probably fake. Ethan handed her the key card. Their fingers touched briefly. Her hand felt freezing cold. "Please," she whispered, "if anyone asks about me, tell them you haven't seen me." Before Ethan could respond, she walked quickly toward the hallway, disappearing into the darkness. The first strange thing happened around 1 a.m. Ethan realized he had never actually seen Claire enter room 214. The hallway camera showed her walking toward it, then static, just for 3 seconds. When the footage returned, she was gone. Ethan replayed it several times. Same result. 3 seconds of static, then empty hallway. By 2 in the morning, the motel felt unnaturally quiet. Even the rain outside had weakened. Ethan poured himself stale coffee and glanced toward the hallway monitor again. That was when he noticed it. Room 214's door was slightly open, only an inch. Darkness waited inside. Ethan considered checking it, but something stopped him. A strange feeling, like someone inside the room was already watching him. At 2:14 a.m., the phone rang. Room 214. The same call. The same crying voice. Then silence. The next morning, motel owner Harold Bennett finally arrived. 70 years old. Chain smoker. Permanent cigarette smell. Ethan immediately mentioned the woman in room 214. Harold froze. Only for a second, but Ethan noticed. "You rented out 214. The system showed it available." Harold stared toward the hallway. His expression darkened. "Stay away from that room," he muttered, "and mind your own business." That answer bothered Ethan more than it should have. because Harold never cared about anything. But suddenly, he cared about room 214. A lot. That evening, Ethan checked the motel archives. Old maintenance reports, incident logs, guest complaints. Almost every file connected somehow to room 214. Noise complaints, missing valuables. One report mentioned screaming. Another guest claimed someone stood outside the room every night at exactly 3:13 a.m., watching the hallway. Then Ethan found something worse. A missing persons article, dated 2 weeks earlier. A woman named Claire Holloway had disappeared less than 20 miles from the motel. The photograph matched perfectly. Same face, same eyes, same woman. Ethan suddenly felt sick. At around 9 p.m., a sheriff's vehicle pulled into the motel. 2 officers entered the lobby, rainwater dripping from their jackets. "We're looking for someone," one officer said. He placed a photograph on the desk. Claire Holloway. Ethan tried not to react. "What's going on?" he asked. The older officer hesitated. "Her car was found abandoned near the river 2 weeks ago. We believe she may be dead." Ethan's stomach tightened. Dead. But he had spoken to her. Seen her. He had given her a room key. The officers searched the motel records. Strangely, there was no entry for Claire anymore. No payment record. No room assignment. Nothing. As if someone had erased her completely. Before leaving, the younger officer quietly asked Ethan something strange. "Has anyone been using the old maintenance tunnels?" Ethan frowned. "What tunnels?" The officer looked surprised. "You really don't know?" Then Harold suddenly appeared behind them. "We don't have tunnels," he snapped. The officers exchanged uneasy looks before leaving. But Ethan saw fear in Harold's eyes. Real fear. At 1:30 a.m., Ethan finally made a decision. He grabbed the master key and returned to room 214. This time, the door was already open. The room smelled damp, rotten. The lights barely worked. Water dripped slowly somewhere inside the bathroom. Ethan stepped carefully across the carpet, then stopped. There was a stain beneath the bed. Dark brown. Old blood. His breathing became shallow. On the nightstand, he noticed a cassette recorder. Dust covered most of it, except the play button. Someone had used it recently. Ethan pressed play. Static filled the room. Then a woman's voice. "Claire, if anyone finds this, Harold killed them." Ethan froze. "There's another room behind the wall." The tape suddenly cut off. At that exact moment, someone slammed the motel lobby bell repeatedly. Downstairs. Fast. Aggressive. Ethan rushed into the hallway, but stopped immediately. Wet footprints stretched across the carpet, leading toward the maintenance door at the end of the corridor. The maintenance hallway smelled like mold and rust. Ethan followed the footprints deeper underground. Eventually, he found a hidden storage area behind room 214. Blankets, food wrappers, candles. Someone had been living there. Then, he heard breathing. A figure emerged slowly from the darkness. Claire. Alive. Terrified. Shaking uncontrollably. "He kills women who stop here alone," she whispered. "And he hides them beneath the motel." Before Ethan could answer, a gun clicked behind him. Harold. His face looked completely different now. Cold. Empty. "You should have minded your own business," he said quietly. Moments later, police sirens exploded outside. Claire had secretly called 911, using an old emergency line hidden underground. Harold attempted to flee, but officers arrested him near the highway. Over the following days, investigators uncovered multiple human remains buried beneath the motel foundation. The story spread across Oregon within hours. The Blackwood Motel closed permanently. Room 214 was sealed, and Claire Holloway disappeared before police could fully question her. No goodbye. No explanation. Nothing. Only one final mystery remained. 3 weeks later, a traveler passing through Oregon claimed a pale woman checked him into an abandoned roadside motel during a thunderstorm. When authorities investigated, the building was empty, power disconnected, doors locked, and inside the old reception office, A cassette tape recorder sat alone on the desk, still playing. Some files should never be reopened. Subscribe to Blackwood Files for more psychological thrillers and dark mystery stories. And remember, every file hides a darker truth. Some stories don't end when the truth is discovered. Sometimes, they wait quietly in the dark, hidden, forgotten, until someone opens the file again. If you enjoyed this psychological thriller, subscribe to Blackwood Files. New dark mystery stories are uploaded every week. And remember, every file hides a darker truth. Good night.